Okay, let me introduce myself. I am an alumni here. I graduated here in the 1996. I know I look a little bit too young, okay? And I am the program director of this Bachelor of Arts and Sciences in Global Health and Development, okay? And together with me, we have Dr. Ryan Ouyang, as well as Dr. Andrew Park. They are both skeleton staff of this program. And after my general introduction, okay, I will let them to elaborate on the areas related to the curriculum as well as the international overseas placement. Okay. Okay, global health and development. What do you know about global health and development? Well, okay, global health, of course, include a lot of areas, but some people will regard it as an extension or some specialization of public health. Okay, we can elaborate a little bit more about this. But if you can see in our curriculum, we'll have a quite wide variety of courses for you to take, and which is not just related to basic science, physics, chemistry, and biology. Because global health, you can touch on a lot of issues. Say, for example, the COVID, okay, the non-communicable diseases, as well as all the poverty, the climate changes, they are all related to the global health and development. Okay, some of you will ask me, what is the difference between clinical health, public health, and global health? Okay, clinical health in Chinese is 臨床醫學, right? Public health, 公共衛生. Global health, 環球醫學. So what's the difference? Clinical health, you are treating patients, right? 醫人係嘛？幫人嘅 ，OK？ 每一次可以醫到幾多人啊？一個啦，係嘛？做一次手術可以醫到一個人 ，right? You are treating one patient at a time. But for public health, you are treating people, right? Not just one person at a time. You can treat patients or people 1 million at a time. Okay, what am I saying? Right? Global health, public health. If you have a very good legislation, say for example, the laws relate to tobacco. 煙仔啊，係咪室內禁煙嘅，或者加煙草稅嘅？ You are saving millions of people at a time. If you are looking at this in a global perspective, right? You are not just talking about you're saving millions of lives in Hong Kong. We are saving billions of lives, right? In this planet, right? So this is a very rough difference about what is global health, public health, and clinical health. Okay, World Health Organizations. Okay, I want to work in the area of global health, so I have to work in the WHO. 係嘛？我少少介紹自己先嚇，我都喺世衛做過2年嘢，06、07年嘅時候。But okay, global health is not just WHO. We have many health organizations related to that. Okay, and even when you talk about the organizations under the United Nations, 聯合國下邊冇好多組織嘅譬如話係世衛啊，聯合國難民專員公署啦，或者係世界貿易組織啦 ，right? Some of them do have branches in Hong Kong. 譬如 World Bank 有冇聽過World Bank 世界銀行喺香港係有佢嗰個分公司嘅。So if you want to do global health, okay, don't just aim at doing World Health Organization, right? There are a lot of choices. And one very special thing about the program is that during your 4-year, right? This is a 4-year program. We have a 6 months placement. Many of these placement sites are in the overseas. Of course, at the same time, we do have overseas students. For them, placement in Hong Kong is overseas, right? But say, for example, this is our 4th year for this program, and we will put our final year students to their placement. And now we have the first cohort, okay, now in their placement. We have students in Geneva, in the International Red Cross Organization Head Office, 紅十字會總部喺日內亞啦，我哋有一個同學喺嗰度啦。And another students in UNICEF in New York, as well as some other organizations under the United Nations, okay, in different countries. Okay, so this is a very good opportunity for you if you really look for something practical. Okay, global health, of course, during the coming 4 years, we want you to do very good, okay, in the academic work. But at the same time, right, no matter where you want to go after you graduate from a program, maybe academics 跟我哋一樣做教授 ，OK， 我係醫學院裏邊嘅 associate professor by the way，OK， 或者你可能想去做一啲其他衞生組織醫療機構嘅工作 ，right？ You need not just the academic part. So that's why the final year 6-month placement is very unique. And Dr. Park is going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay. And after this talk, if you want, okay, I will stay behind as long as you want, okay, to elaborate on that as well. Okay, so that's why global health, not just the academic part, we have the placement. Okay, we just talked a little about the COVID. It's just one example, demonstrate how complex the global health and the development issues. Okay, so that's why the practical part, the placement is important. At the same time, right, you have free winter breaks and free summer breaks. 有暑假㗎嘛，有寒假㗎嘛。So we try to organize something for you to do, which is non-credit bearing. 可能有啲同學入嚟話，第時想做學術界嘅，咁我哋可能咧就 match 一啲老師可能係某啲研究項目嘅，咁可能跟下佢做嗰個research 啦，睇下有冇興趣。第時畢咗業之後翻嚟我哋呢度一齊合作幫手。有啲同學可能係想做即係行政嘅，咁我哋亦都有啲活動而家咧就係舉辦咧就係可能揾一啲醫院或者醫療機構裏邊嘅行政人員院長，咁可能咧就俾你做一個 shadowing，right? From the shadowing you can learn how people manage and operate our hospitals or clinics or healthcare organizations. Okay, but we try to tailor-make as much as possible. And for this program, each year, including the overseas student, we admit around 20-something. Right? For local students, it's 18, the quota. But in the previous few years, we admit more than 18 a little bit because we really find some very enthusiastic young generation. Okay, we will try to admit as much as possible. But at the same time, we will have around 5 to 6 overseas students. Okay, this is really a good mix because global health, right? Of course, local, very good. Okay, I'm local, right? But at the same time, you need people from other areas so that you can mingle together well. And not just the students, but you can see in our teaching team, we have both local students as well as international organizations. So there's another quite peculiar thing about us. Okay, I would try to skip a little bit about the facts because for those facts about your program, you can find in our website. And I'll try to emphasize a little bit more on this slide before I hand over to my colleagues. Okay, so this is a Bachelor of Arts and Sciences program, right? So if you think you have studied not much about the physics, chemistry, biology, no worry. Okay, global health is not just laboratory science, not just biology. We have a much wider perspectives. Okay, the law, the archive, social science, things like that. So no worry. Okay, so we have no such kind of restrictions. Of course, you need to attain certain standard. Okay, we can discuss a little bit more about the requirement later. And you can see we have some core courses, some elective courses as well. Okay, because at the end, after you graduate from this global health program, okay, it depends on what you want to do. As I mentioned, if you want to become researcher, you want to be professors. During this 4 years, okay, you may need to attach to some professors on a voluntary basis, as well as you may need to take some elective courses. Okay, and say for example, right, one period student, okay, he or she is very interested in the finance part. Okay, so apart from the routine courses, okay, the students also took some elective courses related to that part. Okay, and then after they graduate, they may want to find relay job in this area. And remind you, no matter you are talking about the finance or you want to go back to the government to do the administrative officer, 政務官, 聽過? Or information officer, 新聞官, right? You have the niche, right? Because say for example, for information officer, 新聞官 in the 新聞處, right? You need to have both very good Chinese and English. But at the same time, if you have very good knowledge in health areas, the information service department, 新聞處, okay, will second you to Department of Health or the AFCD or the Health Bureau, and that's why you do have niche in certain areas that other people may be difficult to compete with you. Okay, so when you come to us, we start from this year, all the freshmen have the opportunity to have individual meeting with us so that we can tailor-make some program and some activities to cultivate you, depends on what you want to do, right? Some people, well, this is the last sentence for me. Some people will treat it as a general program, unlike MBBS, unlike nursing, unlike pharmacology, right? For that, you will become 醫生、護士、藥劑師, right? For us, yes. Okay, there's no such thing called global health officer in Hong Kong. But as I said, you know quite a lot about this area, and together with what you are going to achieve during your 4 years in Hong Kong U, in our overseas placement, in our voluntary maybe study tour or attachment, right? You can get an edge over the other candidates, no matter they are from Hong Kong U or from other universities, okay? So that's why this is just the beginning. If you really have interest, okay, do email me, get my name card, okay, at the end, please, okay? And after you enter our program, right, we have to talk to you to see what you want to achieve, okay? So maybe I stop here, okay, for a while, and I will stay for the Q&A as well as for individual consultation, okay, as long as you like. I will stay as long as you like. Thank you so much.
All right, let me talk about the field placement. So this is something that Dr. Chung just mentioned, and it's really what makes the GHD program quite unique and quite exciting. What do we mean by the field placement? Well, it's a compulsory part of your program. It takes place at the end of your 3rd year and start of your 4th year. It's to give you an opportunity to do meaningful work, to utilize what you've learned during the GHD program, during the course of your studies, and to actually implement this in a real life setting, in a real organization. You will discover in this process that some of the stuff you learn is very theoretical, and when it comes to putting it into practice, you gain a whole new insight when you see these organizations at work. At a very practical level, it's something that we think is quite helpful for you and quite important for young people going out into the workforce. Many degrees, you can do an internship on your own time after you finish your bachelor's, but many degrees don't have it built into their curriculum, don't have kind of structures in place to help this and to gain access to some really exciting organizations. So the placement itself, as I said, is 6 months long. It usually takes place in around June to December after your 3rd year of study. It's facilitated by us in the GHD program, and it's a unique opportunity, as I said, to see real-world examples of global health and development. Where are some of these organizations? Where are some of our current students right now? Well, you see some on the board here. Of our 16 students of the current cohort doing their placements, we have 4 of them in United Nations organizations in headquarters in New York. We have the United Nations Development Program, one of these major organizations doing research and program implementation on development problems, sustainable development, health-related development aspects. We also have UNICEF, the UN arm responsible for children, looking after children's welfare. And we have also a student with UNDP in Istanbul. So another thing to think about the placement is that there's geographic variety. For those students who are really excited and eager to explore the world, this is a great component of the program. You can tell us that I want to work in the UN, and we can try and make that happen. But if you say, I also want to experience new cultures, new places, maybe not just, the usual developed countries, but can I go to Istanbul, an exciting city? Can I go to other places in Asia, in Africa? We want to make this happen. So part of the placement is also to tailor make this program to kind of see what motivates you in terms of global health and development, and see if we can help make that happen and open some doors. We have here, again, some illustrations of our current students. We have a blog on our GHD program website where students have put some of their own experiences. We encourage you to go look at some of their experiences. One thing I can certainly say is that when you do the placement, you are not alone. So you're not just told, figure out how to do this. The GHD program actually provides support. So we have a range of workshops which provide professional development. We have, for example, CV writing skills, interview skills. We also have intercultural competence workshops, all of which are designed to help students prepare for their placements. And we also have two approaches to matching for the placement. On the one hand, we have a list of contacts of our own. UN organizations, where we have some memorandas of understanding, and we have connections to get students into these places. And as I said, we want students to be interested on their own behalf. So if you have an organization that you think is relevant to the placement, let us know, and we will help you try and gain access to that organization, reach out to them, try and tailor make the placement. A final thing to note is that there are some scholarships that the program also provides to support students undergoing going on their placement overseas. This is something that probably around half of our current cohort have some scholarship support, which is very useful. And then a final thing about the placement is that although you get this firsthand work experience, it's actually more than this as well. So when you're doing the placement, there are a few things you have to do, write some reports for us and some public updates. These are skills to improve your communication. In today's world, it's all about communication, how well you can communicate. The placement is also well positioned to help you do that. And at the very end, students come back very much in a room like this, where we have a debriefing session where all of our students share their experiences. All of the GHD students attend, and we kind of swap stories and experiences, and you get to really taste in the years before your placement what kind of exciting experiences your older cohorts might have had. So as I said, we do encourage you to look for some of these exciting stories that our current cohort have written up about their experiences in New York, for example, in Bangkok, in Istanbul, in Singapore, Geneva. A really exciting experience will await you if you're going on this placement. That is, I think, it for me for placement. Hui Hong, did you want to talk about career prospects?
Okay, thank you so much. As I just mentioned, okay, there are a wide variety of jobs that you can choose. Okay, basically in 3 or 4 areas. Number 1, academics. Okay, after you graduate, you will want to pursue our career pathway. Okay, and the second career pathway, maybe you want to work in the health-related organizations. Say, for example, as a program officer, okay, for the health administrative work. And number 3, okay, which is also health related, but it's not in the healthcare organizations but it's something related to that. As I mentioned, working in the government as the administrative officer or information officer, okay? But no matter what kind of job you want to pursue, we highly encourage you to come to talk to us, starting from your year one, right? Say, for example, if you want to become a health administrator in any health organization, right? No matter it's in Hong Kong or in overseas, right? We will try to provide not just a 6-month overseas placement, but we want to match you to some kind of shadowing or some attachment in your winter break or summer break. We do have the connections in Hong Kong, right? We have quite a number of alumni. Although our program is quite young, 4-year-old, but you know, Hong Kong HKUMed a long history. So we do have alumni working in different areas in Hong Kong, no matter in the public sector or private sector. And we do have alumni overseas as well. And we want to know what you want to achieve. Okay, you want to do more research, or you want to shadow under the hospital chief executive or in other areas. Okay, and some students may try to pursue for a master's degree or in other areas. Okay, we can talk more, okay, on an individual basis, because there's so many opportunities that you can choose. But at the end, you need to cultivate, okay, to rule your edge over the 4 years. Okay, because global health, as I said, if at the end you have first honor, excellent. Okay, but from Hong Kong U, we have more than 100 first honor from all the faculties, right? Okay, so what gives you the advantage is what you are going to achieve in the coming 4 years. So we try to organize as much, okay, opportunity for practical attachment, shadowing, etc., etc. Okay, but this will be on individual basis. Okay, you can't force you to do everything at the same time. Okay, otherwise you have no time to do all the things, right? So do talk to us after you enter our program, or you can learn more before you decide you want to come. Okay, we are always welcome to talk to each one of you. Okay, thank you. And,
Okay, so thank you, Pui Hong and Andrew. So I think Pui Hong has talked a little bit about like career prospects, and I think one of the key things that we want to talk about as well is admissions. This is why this is called admissions talk. So let me just briefly talk about admissions. So for those who are on the JUPAS track, so candidates will be applying on the strength of the DSE, HKDSE. So this is the requirement. So we require English of 4, and then Chinese, Math, Liberal Studies, and Elective 1 and 2. So candidates with a level 4 in English, if admitted, will be required to take 6 additional credits in core university English to complete their degree studies. So meaning that if you have attained a 4 in your English, then you'll be taking a total of 246 credits to fulfill the requirement for the entire university program of GHD. But if you have a level 5, then you'll not be required to take the core university English. So students from all disciplines are welcome. As Pui Hong and Andrew mentioned, global health itself is interdisciplinary. So meaning that we do not place emphasis on whether you have taken biology or whether you have taken social science. And ultimately, when we think about global health and trace back to its history, public health, and then back to the history of like social medicine. So essentially, when people talk about public health, essentially it's a blend of social science and medicine. So that's why for public health or global health, we do not only place emphasis on the science side, we also need to think about this from the other perspective. So preferences will be given to the candidates who put GHD program in Band A. So that's similar to other programs. And the interview is anticipated to happen in June, July 2023. So when I was in the booth in the main campus, some students actually asked about the system. So how do we calculate the score? So for Hong Kong U, this is the bonus point system that we use. So you can see that it's not linear per se. So if you have attained a 5 2 star, then it will become like 8.5. So you might need to think about this when you try to work out the score that you have based on your DSE results. So the total score of the best 5 subjects will be counted for admissions to GHD, and all Cat A arts, sciences, and commerce subjects are equally weighted, and we also recognize M1 and M2. And as I mentioned, there will be no specific elective subjects requirement for this program. So a waiver of university entrance requirement will be granted to the JUPAS applicants who unfortunately fail to meet the UER requirement by 1 level in 1 subject, on the condition that the applicants cannot fall below level 2 for any subjects stated in the UER. So this is something that you might need to think about if unfortunately you have not met the UER requirement. But there is a drawback for that. I mean, for those who actually have to use this waiver, then the total DSE score calculated with the program scoring formula will be deducted by 10%. So there is a drawback with this waiver. So in addition, applicants have to include the program concerned as one of their Band A program choices, have a positive interview outcome, and fulfill any additional programs entrance requirements. So for GHD program, we are not only just focusing on whether you have attained high enough DSE score for admission, we also have interviews. And the interview is particularly important because as with other professional degrees such as MBBS, we have interview panels set up for students so that we can actually assess the suitability of the students to the program. And in the form, we actually ask the interviewers to actually state clearly whether he or she would be recommended or vice versa, not recommended. So make sure that you attend the interview if you are being invited to join the interview. One of the key things that people often ask is what is being included in the interview session. And what we can say is that we are not asking about knowledge. So essentially, for example, we don't ask you to define what is the DNA or describe the Krebs cycle. I mean, this is not what we're going to assess in an interview, but instead what we are trying to get is to see whether there is a good match between your attribute with our program. For example, whether you are interested in global health issues, can you think about things outside of the box, or are you able to analyze the issue from different perspectives? So this is essentially why we need to have the interview. I mean, the academic performance itself is important, but that's not sole criteria that we're looking for in selecting students into our program. So as we have the scholarship for the field placement, we also have scholarship for those who have achieved high academic caliber when deciding to join our program. So in our program, we have 2 scholarships. The first one is the BASc GHD entrance scholarship applicable to the local candidates. So there'll be up to 6 places and currently at the value of $10,000 each. So it's not a lot, but I think the key thing about the scholarship is actually the recognition that it bears associated with you being awarded the scholarship. And the second one is the medical dean scholarship, and all students will be considered immediately, and therefore you do not need to apply for this. And it is up to $15,000 each. And we also have the university-wide scholarship, which is the HKDSE Top 1% scholarship. So I think that's it from my sharing regarding admissions. As Pui Hong and Andrew mentioned, this is an exciting young program, but we are seeing a lot of changes that have been made from the students who first joined our program in year 1, and now the first cohort, the inaugural cohort, has become like the year 4 students, and they have actually matured substantially, which is beyond our comprehension, and in a positive side, obviously. So this program itself is interdisciplinary in nature. As Pui Hong discussed, it involves multiple faculties, including law, economics, social science, architecture, so on and so forth. So students will be able to be exposed to different fundamental blocks, which we think are important to understanding of global health. But obviously, apart from these existing courses, we also have courses specifically on global health issues, such as globalization, and more importantly, courses on competencies, such as how to become a good leader, which is essential, I mean, when you're climbing up your career ladder in different organizations. So I think that's it from all of us regarding sharing, and thank you very much, and we welcome any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Any questions? 有咩問題啊？係啦 ，You can ask the questions now, or yeah, you're most welcome to come to take my name card, and you will have my email, right? I will answer your inquiry as far as I can. 我哋頭先就講 DSE 嗰啲成績啦，IB 都係類似啦，但係OK, yeah. Although this is not a guarantee. I would say if your DSE score, if you score all 5, you'll be, well, quite okay to enter. Although this is not a guarantee, because every year we have only around 18 students. We admit only around 18 local students. Okay, although in the past few years, we do admit more than that. Okay, but yeah, and we will place some emphasis on the interview as well, right? If you cannot achieve all 5, at least in your DSE, we will also look at your interview. Because as you know, we have a 6 months overseas placement. We really want to look for some young generations who are passionate, right? You know very well, DSE 5 is already top 10%, right, in your subject. Top 10%, top 5% for 5-star, or top 1% for 5-star, right? They're all very good results, right? 有咩問題想問啊？隨便問啦，係啊。我諗除咗揀一個 program 之外啦，即係我哋醫學院都仲有其他 MBBS 啊、nursing 其他嗰啲咁樣啦，咁我諗要諗埋學校啦，OK 我成日都講啦，香港有2間醫學院香港大學同中文大學2間，兩間都係好好嘅大學嚟嘅，咁我唔應該話邊間係好，邊間係差，揀一間適合自己嘅。點解我咁講咧？因為我港大畢業嘅，我90年代畢業嘅，OK 咁喺出邊做過唔同地方啦，我上年翻嚟港大之前喺中文大學嘅，咁所以就或者有啲咩想了解下香港大學，即係 other than 個 program 都可以問一問隨便問或者。我頭先有啲 slide 可能你見我跳到咧，就係咧係講 sports 嗰啲嘢嚟嘅。我自己嘅體驗就喺香港大學，除咗即係個 program，我覺得好好啦呢個 program，你可以享受一啲大學生活嘅。香港大學即係個社堂文化好強啦，當然有啲同學或者家長覺得哇喺啲社堂成日玩打波唔讀書咁樣咁讀唔讀書自己決定嘅啫咁但係就香港啲社堂文化幾特別嘅，真係咁我自己好多當年啲好老死嘅都係即係啲 brotherhood 就咁樣即係出嚟咁但係可以到時你入咗嚟香港 U 我哋先傾嗰啲，因為香港嘅唔同嘅宿舍咧都有唔同嘅文化有啲就中意 sports， 有啲中意 culture， 有啲係中意讀書嗰啲咁樣。因為我本身都係其中一個宿舍嘅社交咁所以就對啲社堂文化都有啲了解。咁嗰個可以入咗嚟先傾啦，因為都可以慢慢揀嘅啫。有冇咩同學有啲乜嘢想問咧？係啊 ，OK， 係咪有嘢想問啊 ？OK， 咁入學成績大致我哋約咧講過下啦。咁如果你想傾 IB 或者 GCA level 啲，我依家可以再傾下，因為都唔係淨係話 DSE 學生我哋收嘅。咁我另外一樣覺得呢個 program 好特別之處就係即係overseas student 咧，雖然我諗呢度冇啦，我哋有大約1/3至1/4係海外學生嚟嘅。因為作為一個 global health，咁除咗我哋老師要係一個 global 嘅來源之餘咧，咁同學我哋都想係有一個即係交流嘅。咁所以我哋大約2/3度啦係香港學生咁大約有1/3至1/4係海外學生咁可以海外同埋本地學生有多個交流。
一樣嘢即係頭先沛康都有講過，就係關於嗰個 curriculum 嘅。咁其實等我攞翻個 slide 先，睇下先。係啦，嗱，咁呢個 curriculum 基本上就係講緊 GHD major， 即係嗰96個 credit， 佢哋究竟喺邊度即係 contribute 落去啦。咁入邊當然有我哋分咗幾個範疇啦。咁你會見到有 anchoring course 啦，咁 anchoring course 主要就係講翻每一年有一班我哋專係 for GHD 學生嘅，即係簡單嚟講就係 GHD 先讀得嘅。咁然後亦都有啲 compulsory course， 咁就係我哋覺得 as a global health 嘅 student 一定要知道嘅嘢啦。咁同埋有啲 disciplinary core， 咁呢個就係即係一啲 elective courses 係可以揀嘅。咁但係呢個係都係 within 96 major 嘅一個 credit system 嚟嘅。咁 apart from 呢個之外咧，咁個 field placement 其實頭先 Dr. Andrew Park 講嘅嗰個都係有 credit bearing 嘅。咁有一樣嘢我都想 draw attention to， 可能有啲學生未必明白嘅就係話， 其實我除咗讀呢啲之外，係咪仲有其他科可以讀㗎？咁其實喺一個 standard 嘅4年嘅undergraduate program 咧，咁基本上就除咗一個 major 就係你揀入嚟 JUPAS， 你報咗啦GHD as 你個 choice， 咁呢個就係 GHD major 啦，by default 你入嚟之後，咁其實學生咧可以喺 year 2之後咧就去諗究竟你想副修啲咩科啦。咁點樣揀副修啲咩科咧？咁就係 make use of 我哋叫做 elective courses， 咁就唔係 disciplinary core course 嚟嘅，就叫 elective course。咁 elective course 嘅意思即係話咧，喺我哋個 program，for example， 我哋有90個學分，你哋可以去揀你中意讀咩都得嘅。咁如果你讀得啱個 combination 嘅時候，你就可以 declare 啲 additional 嘅 minor 啦。即係 for example， 如果你係好 interested in minor in economics 嘅，咁你就揀翻相關 economics 嘅 course 嚟讀。咁你就如果你符合到個要求嘅話咧，咁你 graduate 嘅時候，咁你就會變咗 major in GHD minor in economics 啦。咁所以大家即係揀學科嘅時候咧，你都要留意翻就係話其實係咪我揀咗 GHD 我就唔可以讀其他嘢咧？其實就唔係嘅，因為都好睇你點樣去揀嗰啲 course。咁但係衍生有一個問題，即係啲人就成日都問就係話咁我可唔可以話我報 major in economics 入咗嚟先，然後之後我就 declare major in GHD 咧？咁其實就唔得嘅，因為我哋個 program 都好 specific 嚟講話點樣先至可以做到個 GHD major 咧？就係一定要你報入嚟嘅時候，你揀我哋嗰科，你哋先至可以有個 GHD major。咁個 reason behind 就係因為你要見到我哋其實個 field placement 我哋都擺咗即係都有好幾個 site 啦。咁但係我哋亦都冇可能話 offer 晒所有 site 俾所有 Hong Kong U 嘅學生。咁所以即係因為呢個問題，所以我哋如果學生係真係想即係體驗呢個 field placement 嘅，咁呢個都比較 unique，因為其他 program 其實冇呢個 offer 嘅。如果大家係真係想即係 cherish 呢個 field placement 嘅 opportunity， 咁唯一一個可能性可以做到嘅就係要報我哋個 course， 因為 otherwise 你就 declare 唔到 major in GHD， 咁就唔可以 meet 到個 requirement 去 join 呢個 field placement。咁所以至於你話可以揀啲咩 minors 咧，咁其實 Hong Kong U 有個 website 有晒成個 list 嘅，咁所以其實大家即係例如話死我中意 GHD， 但我喺 the same time 我又中意psychology 嘅喎，咁其實你哋可以睇一睇可唔可以做到個 mix and match。即係如果你做到個 mix and match 嘅話咧，咁你就可以即係 major in GHD， 然後如果你係好 aggressive 嘅，即係例如話我24小時我可以狂讀書嘅都得嘅，咁 which 我唔 encourage 啦，因為正如佩康所講嘅 university life 唔係淨係讀書噶嘛，即係有其他嘢噶嘛。咁但係如果你 work out 到個 timetable 咁嘅話，其實你又可以 declare 有啲係極端啲嘅例子，可能 double major 都得嘅。咁所以就即係睇下你點樣去安排個時間啦。咁我諗應該差唔多啦。咁如果有啲咩其他問題咧，其實即係除咗你可以contact佩康之外咧，咁其實我哋隔離個 Learning Commons 嗰度都有啲 consultative session 係可以 join 啦。咁如果係你想各自各即係單一對一咁樣去見面嘅話，其實都可以去隔離間房。咁我哋亦都有GHD 嘅 staff 係喺嗰邊可以即係幫忙答啲問題咯。佩康有冇咩其他特別嘢？
係咯。最後都想少補充就係呢個 placement 好難得嘅。我咪話我喺都瑞士做過嘢嘅國際機構咁樣，咁都知道即係如果你話要係做 attachment 或者 placement 咧，我哋啲申請譬如一沓沓咁樣嘅，即係好多啲年青人都想嚟做咁樣嚇。咁如果你自己申請嘅話，呢啲國際機構度做嘢就好難。咁所以呢個 program 如果有6個月可以去外國。或者有啲同學願意留喺香港，點解咧？因為有啲 overseas 學生對於佢嚟講，可能留喺香港或者去內地都係 overseas 不過我哋大部分啲 size 你見到都係喺真係話外國嘅地方啦。咁我係一個即係好難得嘅機會嚟嘅。所以就係咯，都可以大家有興趣可以傾傾或者各樣嘢啊。我諗總有好多嘢我哋未 touch 到㗎啦。咁但係就我會喺度嘅，咁隨時揾我哋邊個同事傾非常歡迎。